This week on Analog, we talk about 3 tournaments that occurred over the past weekend: House of Pain in Chicago, Super Smash Sunday 64, which is a return of the series, and The Last Apollo that occurred at Nebulous Gaming, which has just closed down.
Yeah, The Last Apollo and what that means for the scene with locals like that dying. We also talk about finding your place in the scene, what it means to make stuff when maybe you're not quite as good at Melee as everyone else. This is Analog.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Analog, where Grand Finals is still projected to be Armada versus Mango.
I am Zane, or Ipengu.
And I am Rishi. Yes. And this is episode 5.
Yep, that's right. We're getting up there.
Yeah.
We did a whole bit about that last week.
Yeah. Well, we got, as always, a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I think that might be our catchphrase, is welcome to Analog, where we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But we do.
There were 3 relatively regionally sized tournaments this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We had House of Pain in Chicago. We had Apollo, The Last Apollo.
Yeah, rest in peace.
At least for the foreseeable future. And we had SSS. I don't actually know what that... Yes, Super Smash Sundays. That's
Super Smash Sundays 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a return.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that, talking about some of the results, trying to keep it a little on the shorter side. It was not as big a weekend for tournaments. And then we're also going to be talking about Summit preview, the end of Nebs and what that impact that has on local scenes in general, and content creation in Smash in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a lot of personal feelings about that, so stick around for that for sure.
So let's get into it then.
Let's get into it.
All right, so we'll definitely keep our tournament recaps shorter than last week because Flatiron
was just a nuts tournament, dude.
We definitely talked about that for like 45 straight minutes.
It's all good.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, we'll start with House of Pain, at which Crush was the first seed and at which Crush placed not first.
No, a recurring theme recently. But yeah, instead, so Crush actually got upset by Cyrox and AbsentPage, and AbsentPage was the man to watch this weekend. He had a little bit of a slobber knocker weirdo set with KJH in Grand Finals, but he won the tournament.
He didn't drop a set.
Yeah, he won from winners.
Yeah, so in quarters, he played Ginger in quarters. Mm-hmm. He 3-0 Ginger, beat Crush 3-2, and then, as you said, double eliminated KJH. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is. Also speaks to something we highlighted last weekend, which is KJH having a little bit of a resurgence from when he was making a case for being a top 30 player last year. Because he did get to sort of run over in that he played Zamu, but Zamu had just beaten Cyrox, so Zamu was feeling hot.
Yeah. I mean, one side of semis was AbsentPage versus Crush, and the other side was KJH Zamu. Definitely a little interesting. But as you said, Zamu did beat Cyrox, and that was 3-2. And we looked it up before recording this, right?
Yes.
It was Cyrox played both Fox and Falco.
Yeah, in that set he played both, and he made a tweet about how he was super sleep deprived going into the tournament, and was actually really thankful he had Falco because he doesn't think he would have gotten as far with all Fox. And that's something Mango said a lot before. He uses Falco for day 1, day 2 of majors, and then he'll switch to Fox. But it seems a little bit different than Mango.
Well, that's a big part of that is that Cyrox's Falco is probably not near the level of his Fox yet.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Mango, last time I talked to Mango, he was like, yeah, I consider myself a Falco main, and I just have a really sick Fox that he just pulls out when he needs to.
Mango never switches in the middle of sets.
No, he does not.
Except for when he tried it against his Falco against HBox that one time, and then he was like, "This ain't working."
Right? Yeah. No, he never switches in the middle of a set.
He rarely even switches in the middle of the day, unless it's he's going Falco and he has to play HBox
or Armada.
HBox or Armada. Yeah.
Though in the past week, I watched a bunch of clips of Mango and Armada playing on stream, and it was like a Falco Peach, and Mango's doing well.
I don't doubt it.
It's not like his Falco's not good at that matchup. He could probably play Falco against Armada and do similarly as well as he does with Fox.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if he continues on the Falco train. Do you remember 2 years ago where Mango basically was not going Falco?
Yeah, at I do remember because the big tournament that hallmarked his transition into playing Fox was I'm Not Yelling. Because that was where he became the Fox Ditto master.
Yeah,
and he
right.
actually like won Fox Dittos, which he was not doing before.
I mean, that's so, because I remember thinking like, I guess we're just not going to see his Falco as much, but now in 2018 he's still beating everyone with Falco.
With Falco, yep.
I mean, I was just thinking in the past couple of days, like how we're talking about how hyped these tournaments with one or two gods are, and the rest of the people can just fight it out. I'm thinking about like how bizarre it is that there is a handful of players who still are so consistently a cut above everyone else, and he does it with whichever character he chooses to pick.
It's the story of Melee for so long. Mango's character choices are just ridiculous too, though, because for a little bit it was like, now that Mango's Marth is here, he has so much innovation he can pull out, and then he just goodbye.
And you know what? His Marth was sick.
His Marth was amazing.
Looked so different from every other
Marth. Yeah.
But he did not keep playing Marth.
No. I know. I actually talked to Tafo. I can say this now because Tafo doesn't coach for Mango anymore. But I talked to Tafo like at Shine, and at Genesis, and they were thinking about using Marth for stuff. Like they were thinking about counterpicking the Peach with it and that sort of stuff.
On like FD and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they were still thinking about it.
I mean, he's beaten the Peach on FD with Marth before.
Yeah, dude, that
down air up smash.
Yep, you knew exactly what I was thinking about. That fucking set, the Royal Flush set, is one of the coolest. Oh my god, his Marth is ridiculous.
Yeah,
in that set, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a sick player.
Yeah, he is.
But going back to what we were talking about with the Falco Fox, I think Cyrox is like, he sees the truth, which is that Falco is not just another version of Fox.
No.
Where, like, Falco has a number of distinct advantages over Fox.
Yes.
And a lot of people, I think, get hung up on the idea of Falco being like a glass cannon.
Which is not how a lot of the top Falco players see him these days at all.
And, like, I saw Kalindi did a stream recently where they were just, like, theory crafting how Fox could theoretically be better with Falco's recovery. And like, I make fun of any Fox player who says this.
This is inspired by a tweet Milkman made a few days ago, by the way, where he said Falco's recovery is better than Fox's. If you don't understand why, like, don't at me.
Yeah, and I saw like a poll somewhere too that was like, which character is better, Falco with Fox's recovery or Fox with Falco's recovery? And there is a reasonable argument for it, but I just completely make fun of any Fox player who starts talking like that, because Fox players in 2018 just like to complain for the most part. And I say this as like someone who has put, you know, the second most of my Melee time into Fox.
Yeah.
But top Fox players love to complain.
Yeah, so the reasoning for like Milkman and people thinking that Fox's recovery is better is because Phantasm it's multiple things. Phantasm is way faster. It has a more threatening hitbox for Falco. And then the idea is that Falco's up B, despite being shorter, when you exit the up B, because you're traveling up in your locked direction for less time, you get to the ground and out of your helpless state quicker.
It's less committal.
Yeah, it's way less committal.
Like if you're up being near the ledge, like above the ledge and near it, and they're running towards you, and whatever direction you pick with Fox, if you're not going to ledge, they have a significantly longer amount of hang time to punish you.
Yeah. So
like there's arguments to be made for it being the case, but I will never stop making fun of Fox players who say, oh man, my up B is too long, you know, my side B goes too far.
You know what I think part of it has to do with too, because the other thing is, people think if you're off stage further than Falco's recovery with Fox, then you should be dead already, is what a lot of people think.
Yeah, I've heard
like
that
the edge
too.
guard should be guaranteed.
Yeah.
But I think that the reason this comes from Fox players also is because they're thinking about it in matchups other than Fox. Because no Fox player complains about playing against Fox.
Yeah.
But against Fox is one of the places where Falco's shorter up B makes a really big difference.
Yeah.
Because it means your high angles are all shine spikeable on reaction.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
Yeah.
You can just get spiked on reaction.
Right.
And I say this as a Falco player. Milkman, you think I'm trash, I'm sure. I am, so whatever. But there's definitely debate both ways.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just think it's hilarious.
I would love to play with Fox's recovery for a little bit.
But despite that, Falco does have distinct advantages besides his recovery that are less debatable.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So yeah, I look forward to seeing how Cyrox progresses with his dual main. I mean, especially as someone who has also been experimenting for a long time with dual and tri-maining. So I don't know. But the other interesting thing, and I don't remember if we were talking about this just before we started recording or while we were recording, but the fact that Mango doesn't switch mid-set.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah. So Cyrox did do that against Zamu and lost.
Yes.
It looks like he stayed all Fox against Crush.
I don't know, because the other set was reported as all Fox
so so it could be recorded wrong in Smash GG.
It could be.
But let me say from experience, switching mid-set is so hard. Like...
Right, yeah, because you've done it with Fox.
Yeah, I've done it with many characters, with many combinations of characters, and like it's really hard for you to go into a game 2 or 3 with a different character and play anywhere near as close to as well as you could have been playing. Like I played Fox for like 2 games, then switched to Marth on game 3 against players significantly worse than me, and then just lost because my Marth is playing so much worse than he would normally. It's definitely like an art, and I've actually talked to PP about this and like gotten some advice from him on how to do it, but like you have to practice doing that.
Right, because PP is one of the people who we saw. He will switch characters mid-set for seemingly a lot less reason than people too. Like he'll win with Falco and switch to Marth, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And like Plup does that, but a lot of the time you think it's because of the stage matchup.
Yeah, that seems to be consistent with what happens.
Yeah,
like he'll switch to Fox in the Ditto on Stadium. And FD.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's really only a handful of players that have been able to make it work.
Yes, the reason I'm checking my phone right now is because this reminds me of something I think I saw that I just want to clear up. So someone said in this talk about Falco's recovery that one of the other reasons Falco his recovery could be argued to be better is because his double jump is higher. I'm fairly sure that's not true. Falco has the highest initial jump in the game, full hop, but Fox has the highest double jump. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I didn't even realize people were talking about jumps.
Yeah, but just to clarify, I'm pretty sure Fox has a higher double jump than Falco, so that's actually a favor in his
I didn't know that.
But Falco has a faster fall speed, which benefits, again, the like falling out of helpless animation faster.
There's a lot of little things like that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. Falco, the new wave of Falcos is players like Squid and Ginger, who all are super intellectual and think Falco should be a lot about like defense, and not defense, but controlling space and controlling pace. And even Mango, if you talk to him, he says that's what Falco's actually about.
Dude, just watch any PP video.
Yeah.
And it's so clear.
Yeah.
He makes it seem like Falco is not a glass cannon at all.
Yeah.
He's just like a cannon that's fortified, and that you can't get to it. You just keep eating cannonballs until you die.
What a thing. Okay,
but yeah, AbsentPage wins that tournament.
Yeah. Going on. So SSS 64. I saw, who was it? Dendy made a really weird. He was like, it has to have 64 if it's SSS 64. He tweeted that blur like that. I was like, okay. AbsentPage was actually at this too. He just traveled crazy far.
Bobby Big Balls was there? Why?
But AbsentPage,
interesting.
AbsentPage actually got beat by his fellow Midwest competitor, Captain Faceroll, who defended SoCal from him.
Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah.
Who took the first game? It was AbsentPage, right?
I don't know. I couldn't watch it.
I was watching it. I don't remember who took the first game, but it was best of 3. Captain Faceroll ended up winning. Captain Faceroll is looking pretty nice these days.
Yeah, he is.
I gotta say.
Yes.
Really clean and like formulaic, which has always kind of been his MO with Sheik. But I don't know. I guess I haven't been watching him in a while.
There is a great clip on Reddit the other day where Griffin is playing. So Armada has been staying at Connor's house in Irvine, CDK, and so that's a lot of Irvine players were over there playing with him. Or not staying. Maybe he was staying at Kellen. He was staying in Irvine with a lot of Irvine people. Okay. And there's this clip where Griffin gets a literal 0 to death tech chase. He has Armada off stage at like 110%.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
And then Armada Sakurai combos him and kills him after like a minute-long extended punish sequence. It was so funny. And Armada just goes, "That's Fox."
It's true, too. That's not just Fox. That's Fox versus Sheik.
Yeah.
You have like a guaranteed kill.
Yeah.
You mess up once and you just die.
Yeah. But speaking of Irvine, Squid had a fucking amazing run. Squid beat Mike Hayes and Lucky
in what looks to be a gentleman best of 5. Because winners rounds 1 and 2 in top 24 are supposed to be best of 3. Meanwhile, this one set Squid versus Mike Hayes is somehow game 5.
I'm guessing that was just they did not know.
So that happened.
Yeah.
After which Squid 2-0's Lucky.
Yep. And then he lost to S2J in winners. And then I think he beat him in losers? No, he beat Hugs in losers, and then he lost the run back to Lucky.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Game 5.
Yeah, that's when I stopped watching. I was like, oh, okay, SoCal.
Yeah, but there's a certain pantheon of players that in SoCal that everyone thinks of as set apart from everyone else, I'd say, and that's people who used to be at SSS and win like when it was way back in its old heyday, the old school players. So that's Lucky, S2J, Westballz, Hugs, and then SFAT's tacked on there since he's the same era of player.
Yeah.
But Squid was like, he broke past all that and beat a bunch of those players who are still the top players in SoCal. So. Right.
You know, I don't even think this is the first time that's happened.
No, definitely not. Him and Face Roll have both had runs like that.
It's just that it happens at locals.
Yes.
Like, I want to see them both. I mean, I haven't been keeping track of their results too closely, so I don't want to say something that's wrong. But I feel like neither of them has had that significant relative to these wins at the locals.
Face Roll had that one really good performance at Blood for Blood where he beat Pew Pew You.
Okay.
About a year ago. And he was looking real hot then. But yeah, neither of them have had... I think they've both had really amazing wins in tournaments, even majors.
Okay.
But they've gotten them 25th.
Right.
Or maybe 17th for Face Roll. Once. I don't think so even.
Yeah.
But they've never had a run that was like, oh, wow. They've never had a 5th place at Pound Loudandis run is what I'm saying. Yeah. Shout outs to Sam.
Yeah.
I miss you, Sam.
It did look like Face Roll ended up losing to Mike Hayes. But...
yeah,
I mean, nothing was super surprising in this bracket. But after Face Roll beat AbsentPage lost to Lucky and got 9th.
Yeah.
The day after winning another big tournament.
Yeah. I mean, the big story here is no one can figure out Westballz. Except actually, it's not that hard to figure out. He slumped, and now he's trying really hard again, and he had a really good tournament.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He tweeted yesterday saying like he feels really good. Like or maybe it was today, but like he's been practicing. He wanted to prove himself.
Yes,
and that's what he's doing.
Yeah,
so, you know,
he had him. I think I like I said didn't get to watch most of this. I caught grand finals. I caught his sets against Lucky. I didn't catch him versus S2J, which went game 5, and which is probably good. Him versus SFAT was a really, really good set, and you guys should definitely go watch it. Mm-hmm. There's a trend in sets between these two players, which is that I think these two players very frequently, what it comes down to is the recovery. I remember an SSS so long ago, it was one of the first SSSs that like Zach and Kevin went to go beat SoCal in.
Yeah.
And it was grand finals, SVAT versus Westballz, and the entire set, the entire tournament came down to the fact that SVAT couldn't cover short inside Bs.
Oh no.
Like he just couldn't do it. And Westballz just abused that consistently. Me and NMW.
I don't think you can. I think it's. I don't think there's any options.
Yeah, you're right. But what then happened is you saw. So the next time they played, he was covering it, and then also SFAT started using short inside Bs a ton himself after that. And I know it was because of that set. And what the story of this set was: Game 5 on Dreamland, West just edge canceled to. He just side B edge canceled every single time, and Zach never covered it. Never, ever, ever. Zach went to the ledge and was ready to cover to the ledge, and then he was like ready for the high side B, but he was never ready for the edge cancel, and that's why West won straight up.
Hey man, it's looking good out here for the Falcos.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, watch out for SFAT to edge cancel all his side Bs at Summit.
And Falco's recovery is better than.
And Falco's recovery is better than.
That's the moral of this story.
That's actually another way in which it could be better because
the edge cancel distance.
Edge cancel distance is easier to pull off. Yeah, closer to ledge.
Yeah, you guys heard it here first. If you haven't been on Twitter, Falco's recovery is better than Fox.
Right.
I forgot that Squid beat Hugo. That's pretty crazy too.
Yeah, he's beaten Hugo in the. They've all of these players have beaten each other in the past, right? But like
it's SoCal
to get that many wins at one tournament.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the real like wow, Squid. Yeah. Good shit, Squid. You're amazing. If for any Falco players, go read Squid's Falco Google Doc. It's so good.
I'll have to check that out myself.
Amazing. Yeah.
All right, last tournament of the weekend. Also the last tournament that will ever occur in the nebulous venue as we know it.
Yep.
Was Apollo 13.
Yeah.
There were, I guess, what was it, 150 entrants. Pretty good for Apollo.
Very good for Apollo, yeah.
As we mentioned, the venue's closing down, so this was like a sad farewell.
Yeah. So this tournament had a few... It went mainly by the books. All the sets were really, really hype. Definitely go watch them. I commentated a few of them. One of the highlights of the weekend, and something that I actually was saying we could watch out for, when I was asked on commentary who I thought would win, I said, I think it'll be Smuckers 3-1. But in my heart, I really thought Calvar would win. And he did. I know that sounds like I'm just bullshitting, but he did. Calvar is from New England. He's a New England Marth.
Yeah.
He's referred to as the tech-chasing... I don't want to say the word after that, by his New England compatriots.
Tech-chasing guy.
Yeah, tech-chasing guy. And he fucking destroyed Smuckers.
That's crazy, especially because it looks like he almost didn't make it to Smuckers.
Yeah, he almost lost to J-Flex.
Yeah.
It was also a really interesting set because what would happen is Smuckers would get the slide-off DI every single time. But Calvar just chased him down.
Interesting.
And I was talking to Dudutsai and Bonk Cushy afterwards when we all went out to dinner, and I was like, yeah, man, Calvar just looked amazing at that matchup. And they went, oh, he actually loses to, like, Golden in New England a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's a Falco player.
Falcon
player.
He, like, loses to Golden and Claps a lot, apparently. So,
wow.
Who knows?
I hate to say it, but my man Smuckers out here is looking pretty discouraged recently.
But he just had that Flatiron run.
I know.
That was last weekend.
I know, but like that, pretty much every other tournament he's been to has not looked super good amazing for him. I know for a while he was taking a break from Melee, just to kind of like see how he felt, and then he came back. Especially in the Marth matchup, he's looking discouraged. I beat him a few times.
Okay, wait.
He lost to Pew Pew, lost to Calvar.
Wait.
But then last week I came to Nebs at the last Nebs After Dark on Tuesday.
And you beat him.
No, I didn't get to play him.
Oh, you didn't? Wait.
No, because he lost to Robotic Fish.
Yeah, he did lose to Robotic Fish.
And Ryobi in Losers.
Yeah,
and he's amazing at the Peach matchup.
Yeah, but Nico's taken a couple sets off him before. They have the, like, we've played each other so many times thing.
I know, but Smuckers is typically dominant on him, and it's usually like a set one of Grands, where then Smuckers comes back in Grands.
Okay. So, yeah, cool. He's looked bad in the past few tournaments. How long ago was the gang?
That was over 2 months ago.
2 months is not that long, dude.
Dude, for a Falcon player, that's an eternity.
What does
see how
that
fast
mean?
he runs? He runs into the next month like in an instant.
I see. There's like time dilation.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You've never
Theory
gone
of
at F0 speeds.
There was a trivia question last night at trivia. It started in the game Super Smash Bros. And I like popped the fuck up. And it was, what is the character captain, like, which represents Nintendo characters from all different franchises. What game series does the character Captain Falcon represent?
That's free.
I wrote it down, and then my girlfriend wrote, Zane has a podcast about this. So shout outs to Arts and Crafts Trivia, Morningside Heights. They know about this podcast now. So, let's go. Yeah.
Welcome any listeners from there. Yeah, dude, gang was so long ago.
Okay, fine. The other big upsets to talk about at this are Whiskers beat Dizkid. If
you don't know who Whiskers, he's a local Yoshi player.
He's my boy. He's the reason I know about Yoshi. We went to Columbia together. Which is why I have multiple reasons where I'm like, okay, really, that's fucking awesome for Jamie, for Whiskers. Kyle is like actually super out of practice. He hasn't played Melee in legit 3 months. You know what?
You don't need to play Melee with Ices.
Okay.
You just have to hit a button.
Okay. Also, those two have played a ton of times because Kyle used to come to the Columbia weeklies. And then the last thing is that the Yoshi Ice Climbers matchup is sort of amazing
Yoshi. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Because you down tilt them and Nana dies.
Or you neutral B them.
And then
and Nana can't mash out.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah,
I love watching that matchup.
That matchup's actually stupidly good for Yoshi. The only thing that's bad for Yoshi is if he tries to approach with Nair and then he'll get shield grabbed.
Yeah.
But like down tilt, down smash, fair is fucking amazing against Ices. It's like a knee.
It's like
but it pops them up.
It's like knee or Marth fair against them, but like better in every way.
Yeah, and Yoshi gets to platform camp and not get grabbed out of his shit.
Yeah.
It's a good matchup.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at this and it had Smuckers 3-0 over Ryleby, and I was like, didn't I just say that Ryleby?
No, that was different. Yeah.
But this is the different tournament.
Oh, another set that was really great was K-On! Versus IBDW. That was a weird fucking set, as you can imagine.
It's always weird. Also, notably, I was absent at this tournament.
Yeah. Rishi was not there.
Yeah, my sister was in town this weekend, and we were watching plays and movies.
So that's why you're getting the report from me.
Yeah. So I didn't get to watch any of the sets either.
The last thing I want to talk about is Tiramisu. So that's the guy who beat Toussaint 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I actually played a lot of friendlies with him.
Oh, yeah?
So I beat him, real bad in the first 2 friendlies. And then he downloaded me and destroyed me. And he had a really good run. He beat Bonk Cushy. He went to Game 5 with J-Flex. He took a game off Smuckers. And if you look at his pool, he beat Zealous in his pool.
Oh, that's where Zealous went.
Yeah, he beat Zealous in his pool.
Oh,
wow. So that was...
Do you know who Zealous played?
He played Marth.
I see.
And then Zealous lost to Dudutsai in Losers.
No way.
Yeah.
One thing of note...
Mm-hmm.
The last thing of note that I would point out is that La Luna won this tournament without dropping a game.
Yeah.
And that puts his record with IBDW in the past year 1-2 in IBDW's favor.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
So IBDW beat him last year at some, I think, CEO or something. And then at Gemini, IBDW 3-0'd La Luna.
That's right.
So... honestly, I wasn't expecting it to go... Well, I wasn't sure what to expect. But, I knew that there was a pretty solid chance that Cody would take it over La Luna. That being said, I think La Luna was playing so much better at Apollo than he was at Gemini.
And just in general recently. He's had a lot of recent...
His punishes at Gemini were terrible, honestly. He couldn't convert. But it looked like he was converting really nicely at this tournament.
Yeah,
and that paid off because
he was sending people off stage really early.
Yeah,
he was sending people off at 70 and then just winning off that.
Edge guarding.
But the bracket does not tell the story of this at all. So many of these sets were really, really good highlight sets. La Luna versus Animal, it's a 3-0, but Animal was playing out of his mind.
Really?
Yeah, it was so cool. La Luna versus Atomisk, also a really, really close 3-0 with Luna showing really, really good punish game on Atomisk. I commentated that set. IBDW versus K-On! Like I said. Slox versus Darktooth was really good.
Yeah, I did see that one.
Yeah.
Speaking of Atomisk, did you see my set with Atomisk last Tuesday?
I did not. How'd that go?
I destroyed his puff and he switched to Sheik.
He switched to Sheik on you.
And I just trolled around versus his Sheik, and he took the game with Marth. Against my Marth. So I took him to FD and I switched to Ices.
Oh, you suck.
I was like, hey man, you're gonna switch on me, I'm gonna switch on you.
That's so
And then
weird.
he took the first stock, and then I wobbled him. I killed him and then I wobbled him 3 times.
Yeah.
The game ended with a chain grab into wobble.
That's very evil.
It was sick. It was so funny.
I'm sorry about that, Atomisk.
You guys better go check out those highlights because my ices were looking clean.
Yeah, but what we really brought up Apollo to talk about is, like I said, it's interesting how the results look almost what you would expect, except for Calvar over Smuckers.
Yeah.
But what we really wanted to talk about was how the death of Apollo of Nebs is a death of locals.
Yeah.
And you guys can stay tuned to hear more about that after the break.
Hey guys, welcome to our shout out corner. This week we want to shout out Bad Melee in honor of Slime's birthday.
Yeah, today is Slime's birthday, so when you hear this tomorrow, granted that I do not have issues with editing this again, it will be the day after Slime's birthday, but go wish him a belated happy birthday. I'm sure he'll love that, actually. Happy birthday, Slime. You're really funny, but you also make really good content. Bad Melee is a huge inspiration for me doing a Melee podcast. It's really fucking funny. You should go check that out. If you search Bad Melee on YouTube, they also have a Patreon. Subscribe to the Patreon for some sweet benefits, like a Patchy only Discord. If you pay more, you can even play games with Slime and Dawson and Donby while they're shirtless, and I know you guys all want to do that, so.
And be sure to check it out live this weekend at Summit, right?
Oh yeah, and Slime's doing a live Bad Melee cast at Summit, so you can check that out. I think that's going to be on Saturday. I think it's on Saturday. Yeah. So check that out. Love you, Slime. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Welcome back to Analog episode 5.
Oh, am I supposed to talk? We're now gonna be talking a bit about locals and the death of locals, the reported death of locals. You may have heard.
I didn't have anything else to say.
It's fine. It's all on me. But with Apollo ending, with Nebs ending, I keep saying Apollo, but it's Nebulous.
Yeah, Nebulous.
People have been talking for a while about locals dying, and I actually did an interview with Ryo Beat Nico when he was still like TOing in New York about this. And I've always been a bit on the fence about locals are dying because other people have done like charts about it, like Stock. Shout outs to Stock Money, the New England. Is that where Stock's from?
I think that sounds right.
Sean Thomas O'Connor. I know his name.
Yeah.
But he made a cool chart that showed like the dip that everyone was seeing a few months ago was just like that's how it works because people have school and stuff.
Yeah.
But we do have to talk about like the fiscal realities of it too.
Yeah,
and
honestly,
that's something that's been talked about a lot.
And it's not just Nebs that has been facing this. I mean, Xanadu closed down a couple months ago, and as we all know now, they are no longer closed. They actually were only closed for 3 to 4 weeks before they reopened their newer and, from what I've heard, significantly better venue. But at the time of closing, they didn't know that they would have that kind of venue available.
Did they not?
Them.
Okay.
And I think it was pretty special circumstances that led to them being able to have that kind of amazing venue, which now, just hosted Glitch 4, which was a huge Smash 4. I think it was officially a major by the PGR criteria.
Yes.
And in just a couple of weeks, they're hosting Pound Underground.
Yep.
So they've got big things planned for that, but
Nebs
that's a special circumstance. I mean, they were barely scraping by at this puny little venue that was basically located in an industrial yard.
Yeah,
and Nebs is trying to afford Manhattan rent.
Well, it's so interesting because I think a lot of the scenes that people think of as the strongest regions or where there would be the most melee are frequently the ones where it's actually really hard to find a local to go to. Yeah. Nebs was amazing for New York, but when Nebs has been down, there are locals, trust me. There's Royal Smash in Queens.
Yeah, we have something every day.
Get Smashed out in Westchester, but it's still like it's hard to get to those for a lot of people.
And those are like micro locals.
They are micro locals. And a lot of the time the scenes that have the highest like concentration of Smash because they're the most heavily populated, that also means it's impossible to find affordable venue space. Yeah, I went through the same thing. I'm also like from NorCal, and NorCal had a huge and still to an extent does problem with not being able to find spaces for locals. Yeah, where after Foundry shut down, it was like people were coming up with places, but it was like places smaller than like the apartment we are filming in right now, or like a 2-hour drive away. And that was even harder because the Bay Area is such a spread out scene.
Yeah, I think people mistakenly tie the success of their local scenes to like, or other people's local scenes to like what players are there, like what players they know of. But like you can have a top player nearby and whether or not they attend, the actual number of total attendance at the tournament is going to make the biggest difference in how successful that tournament ends up being.
Yeah, but I mean, top players attending what is a big issue too, where it definitely boosts people. And in NorCal for a while, a lot of top players were not going to locals, and then people spoke up and were like, "You need to."
I remember that whole issue.
Yeah,
that was happening around the same time that we had the same kind of thing happening in MDVA, where like Chu and Chillin basically never went to any locals.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to Chillin coming to Xanadu last week and getting second.
Oh, did he?
Taking a set off June in grand finals.
Oh, good shit, Chillin.
Yeah,
I'm a Chillin.
He was playing, definitely looking more like his old self.
I'm always been a Chillin believer.
I digress, but basically.
I think, by the way, I just wanted to make note, I think that's the first time either of us has said I digress on this podcast, which is a miracle in and of itself.
I just thought of that too.
It's like, you said it, and I was like, how has neither of us,
the number of times
being the nerds that we fucking are, has not said that.
But Zane digresses.
Oh, man.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the end of locals. But one thing with this is that, so a lot of Melee proliferation these days, I don't know, a lot of the way Melee gets consumed is not at locals, but like online, via stream, via content creation and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while. Because it's really interesting that the people who are making content are not the figureheads of our community, by and large. Mm-hmm. You're an exception. You're a top player who does a lot of writing. But then other than you, it's like, you got Tafo and Blur doing Commentator's Curse, and you have the Reeds. But a lot of the like writers and stuff, like Slime's a pretty new dude with Bad Melee. Edwin's been around forever, but
he's basically in his niche.
Yeah, Ambi and
the stats people
and me, Alex Lee, who writes for ESPN. Like, it's all fairly new people. Mm-hmm. And this is something I wanted to talk about because it's a weird dichotomy where, on average, the person writing about Melee is not nearly as good as Melee.
I know that firsthand when I'm looking through. So I'm writing analysis articles on Dignitas at the moment, and like some of the articles that I read through that I'm not writing are occasionally hard to get through.
Well, to
put it lightly.
It's something I've thought about a lot recently, and something I actually like that impacted me a lot this past weekend at Apollo, because I don't know, I'm a mid-ish level player. I don't play that frequently, but I'm definitely not a good player by any means. I've been playing for a long time, and I'm okay. But when I do bad at a tournament, it really gets to me and I did really bad at Apollo. And I have all the Johns in the world. I haven't played for so long. I had a drink. I was drinking beforehand, and drinking.
That didn't make you better?
Drinking versus wobbling. It makes me better in some matchups. Drinking versus wobbling is a bad matchup.
Yeah,
the tournament was super stacked. I played two fairly good Ice Climbers players anyways. So I was just mad because that's a matchup I really like. But it made me feel so sad because it was like, if I'm this bad at Melee, and I know that I'm better than those results tell me, but still, it was like, at what place do I have to be creating content is the feeling that I get from that.
Right.
Sometimes in the moment. And it's I think it's not an entirely invalid feeling.
That being said, you can look at a lot of the content that people are supposedly qualified to create, and it's not necessarily good content. Right?
Yeah. That's the other thing. So that's where it comes into. That's where the clash gets to it, because, I mean, you have to excuse me if I sound egotistical here, but what I have to remind myself is that I am working hard to do interviews and write and stuff, and on the level, I consider myself to be pretty good, better at those things.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting when you see those things rub up against each other. Because for me, I'm also a commentator. And so I know, I think I'm okay at commentary, but I know that I have to... It's about staying in your lane, right? Like, to quote the fucking Shine series.
Yeah.
I don't try to make super analytical Smash content because I know that's not my place. And on commentary, I don't try to, like, go super duper analytical. Even though I do think, like, you can do commentary and say analysis because it's different being out of the game. But there's things where it rubs up where you see these people making content about the history of Melee or something, and it's like, you haven't been around that long, like, what place do you have to be doing this content?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, is anyone who has that place making that content? Not really, right?
Yeah.
It's just really interesting.
Yeah, the more I'm like doing stuff in Melee and competing, the more I realize that like results and the gameplay itself isn't as important as most people think it is. Like the results itself is one aspect of what it is to like be in the Melee community, but there's so much more to it. Like it's a really complicated industry and complicated community. Like you don't even have to be like that amazing at Melee to be a top level analyst. If you want to do analysis, like you don't have to be a top player.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, because I think so much of analysis is about taking things like really slow and breaking down things, which is entirely the opposite skill set of I mean, not like, obviously a lot of top players are good at that, but it's not what you need to be a top Melee player, right? You need to be able to break things down in the moment and on instinct. So.
And if you guys have listened to me over time on commentary and in our podcast, then you've probably gotten the sense that I look down on most people who attempt analysis because I think most of it is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But like there are so many good examples of people who are not, you know, in the top 50 or top 100 even, who are clearly contributing analysis. Like, just look at Crunch, for example. And Crunch is a good player.
Yeah, that's a really good example.
Yeah, like, he's a good player, but he's not top 100 at the moment. He might be by the end of the year. Don't get me wrong. Like, I know he practices hard. But the fact that he's contributing to the performance of the #1 player in the world in a significant way is pretty telling, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I've said it's interesting so many times, but I think it almost even ties into what we were talking about 3 weeks ago with Emily about like women in Smash, because that's the same thing. It's obviously there's a lot of misogyny and sexism tied up in that, but you don't have the results. Yeah. So who are you to be TOing or something?
Yeah,
right?
Where does your value come from if you're not a top player?
Yeah.
But where does anybody's value come from in the Melee community? Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's good to interrogate. Sounds like a strong word, but I think it's what I want to go with. It's good to like to question, I guess. To question the validity of content and how much basis, like, I'm struggling to say this. It's good to think about how much a credo someone has, because it should affect how much you listen to the content.
Yeah.
But
and in general, being a top player gives you a kind of like inherent
like
ethos.
A free pass even in a lot of situations.
Definitely. I would even say that people give far too much credit to top players.
Because you don't, if you think top players think the same thing, like they know how the game works, and so they all know, like no top players agree on anything.
Yeah. There's actually like more disagreement at the top level than at any other level, as far as I've seen. Try talking to Duck about anything. Shoutouts to Duck.
Duck is so smart. He's like actually smart. Did you see that Sheik punish tech he came up with?
Of course I saw it.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, where you spot dodge to stop sliding off.
And because you missed the shield stun too. You negate the shield stun
so
if
you
time
immediately
it right.
Punish. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I can't believe no one has been utilizing it for
crazy.
15 years.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's just something that you got to think about. I think it's about knowing who you are and what you want to do, because I don't ever want to stop making content for Melee. And I think I'm good at it, and I like doing it, and so I don't want to like invalidate that because I'm not as good at the game as I want to be.
Yeah.
But also, I want to be good at the game. And then there's the whole other thing of, for me specifically, making content directly conflicts with me playing the game a lot of the time. Like I went to Genesis, I made it out of my pool, and then I lost my next pool, and that was the only Melee I played at all of Genesis.
Really?
And that's in my fucking hometown too. I was just recording and editing all of Genesis. Yeah. That's all it was.
I was having like a crisis a few months ago, just trying to figure out like how I wanted to interact with Melee and engage with Melee, because I felt like I was putting in all this work, or I felt like I was putting in work and I wasn't seeing the results out of it that I wanted. Like I felt like I'd plateaued for a while, and it's like, why am I traveling? Why am I spending all this time throughout the week doing this if I'm not getting what I want out of it? And I talked to a bunch of people just to like see what other people thought about that kind of thing. And one of the most helpful conversations I had was with PPU, and Kevin said that like, and I found out later that this is something Coach Bobby told Kevin, is that only one of your goals with Melee should be based on results.
Totally.
And I thought that was like really helpful for me, because it's like, not only does it limit the importance that you put on results while you're competing, it also forces you to think about every other aspect of competing. So like, I could easily take that in the direction of like, okay, cool, maybe I want to do commentary or something else. Right. But also it's like, how can I make myself a list of goals while I'm competing that don't have to do with results? And then if you guys are reading my blog at supersmash.blog, then you saw the main goal that I was focusing on for a while was just being happy with how I played at a tournament.
Which is that's like pure Kevin too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did some soul searching and realized that in all of the previous Smash games that I've played competitively, the big ones being PM and Smash 4. Right. What really gave me joy when I played those games competitively was like being able to go back, watch my videos, and just like feel excited about the way I was playing and the things I was doing in tournament. So like being able to go to Xanadu every week when PM was like growing exponentially in 2014, I'd like show up, I'd have some new innovation with Mewtwo that I'd come up with, or I'd be playing like a new character I was working on. Right. Like I remember pulling out my Charizard for the first time and then just like beating, someone who had beat me previously before. That kind of stuff like felt really good. And then especially in Smash 4, the way I play with Kirby, you could describe as unique. A lot of times I would just like crouch there and do nothing. Yep. And then they would move, and all of a sudden I'd be comboing them to death.
You were taking a note out of Chudat's book from way when he played Kirby.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed going back and like hearing like the commentator and crowd's reaction to like new things I'd come up with as Kirby.
There was a period where you were just posting your own VODs of Kirby and being like, look how sick my Kirby was. I was the best. Someone made this combo video of me. It's the best.
Like I looked up my Kirby like more than a year after I stopped playing. And someone had made a new combo video of my Kirby, of my old clips. Like my Kirby was that sick. And like that kind of excitement is what I was missing from Melee specifically. Like I would go back and watch my Melee videos, and regardless, win or lose, I wasn't really happy with what I was seeing. Like I was trying to do things that didn't feel like it was being true to my own style. And, beyond that, it wasn't getting me the results that I wanted either. So I decided to like go back a little bit, like approach the game more with the passion that I had been approaching, Smash 4 and PM, and then see what came of it. And obviously like Melee is my favorite game. That's why I intentionally chose to stop playing the other games in favor of Melee. Right. I just somewhere along the line, like I stopped doing what I really enjoyed doing. And as far as I can tell, and everybody else can probably tell too, like I feel like it's paid off. Like my results have improved. I'm having so much more fun with the game. Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's a burden on me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, before we were recording, you were just beating me with your fucking hideous green Pikachu on Fountain. So you're definitely having...
The skin may have been hideous, but the gameplay.
No, the gameplay was hideous too. The gameplay was hideous too. Let me just tell you, if you think you're better at refreshing invincibility with up B than Rishi, if you're not Axe, you're probably not.
Dude, the way I was playing against you with my Pikachu is basically what I did with Kirby in Smash 4.
Yeah, I was actually about to say.
Where I'm doing something in neutral where it's just like, how do I deal with this?
It's even closer to what Chudat did. Yeah. It's choose Kirby.
Because then you just die.
It's probably what Choose Pikachu is like, too. He had a Pikachu. He did have a Pikachu.
Yeah. So, I mean, beyond gameplay, like now, I'm doing more writing and podcast stuff. And I feel like I personally, after several months of struggling, have found like a good place.
Yeah. It's so interesting, too, because I think... Sorry. My girlfriend pointed this out the other day. I say interesting so much. I'm trying to cut it down. Apparently it's a California thing.
Really?
Apparently. Anyways, it's Kevin is I think a lot of people view Kevin as sort of cheesy because of some of the stuff that he posts on Twitter about PMA.
Like as a person.
Yeah. He's all positive mental attitude. Great.
Yeah.
But this past tournament he was just talking about how much fun he had, and it showed off. I mean,
he got third.
It paid off.
Behind Leffen and X.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
But also, I think that what you have to realize is you were saying that Coach Bobby's the one who told him that. And I think for Kevin, it's not only... I don't think Kevin is naturally a super positive mental attitude, like self person, right?
Uh-huh.
The reason he has the self tag is to remind himself.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cheesy if you want, but I think he is actually naturally not like that, but he knows that by doing that, he has more fun.
Dude, can I be real? I don't think anyone's like that. Even like the most positive people, I feel like everyone has had to work to get to that point.
Oh, totally. I'm trying to think of someone who's more naturally like that. I think there are people who are naturally
maybe
like that.
Somewhat, but like...
I don't know, maybe like Kyle's like that until he's not. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Kyle is very like that until he gets sad about a loss.
Yeah. Usually teams.
Dewan might be the closest.
Dewan
also gets salty, but he just gets over it pretty fast.
But he's not as proactive as Kevin about positivity.
But I think maybe because he doesn't need to be, because it is more natural to him.
I guess. When I talk to him, he's more like, I'm here to beat everybody.
That's true.
You know?
Not just to have it. But he also, the reason he doesn't chain grab is because he wants to go back and say, that's how I wanted to play. That's like, that's how I enjoy playing the game.
I think I would describe that separately as like, as positivity, from positivity.
Okay.
But they definitely go hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially... I mean, the more I talk to like top level players about Melee, like especially Mango, if you ask him for advice, he'll be like if you ask him for advice on how to place well, he'll say, "Don't play like me, you'll be sad. Just play really lame," and that's what you have to do.
Mango talks about how playing. It's true too. Do you remember before Royal Flush? It was when Mango was super washed. And he was not practicing for Royal Flush at all. He was just playing Mario Kart on stream. And everyone was like, oh, Mango's going to do so fucking bad. And then he came out and he's told me so many times, or he just said so many times, yeah, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I know how I'm going to do well. And it's by playing dumb fucking games on my stream.
I remember him talking about that. Yeah. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
I mean, like everybody, if your goal is to improve in the game, like you have to put in the work to learn about the game, to master the execution, because there's so much grinding that you have to do in Melee. But for those of us who have been playing for years, eventually it gets to the point where it's like you just have to consider the merits of competing rather than like the skill set of competing in general, rather than the skill set of winning a game in Melee.
What are you doing it for? Like, why are you playing Melee? Is it because you want to win? Maybe it is, but is it also just because you want to see yourself do sick shit and it feels better when you do that sick shit to better players? Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
It's interesting. I thought about that a lot over the past couple of years. Is like, what does it take to succeed in any sort of competition? Because it is its own skill set. Like you can hear people say like, oh, I know this, I know that, I know this better than such and such player. But for some reason they're not doing as well in tournament, even though it might feel like they're doing well in friendlies. there's like all players all across, you know, the whole range from you know, knowing about the game to doing well in tournament. But a lot of it comes down to like, how good are you at competing? And like Armada and HBox are amazing at competing.
Yeah, that's obviously what stands out so much.
Because they do it consistently, regardless of, you know, the factors to consider.
It's something that something I've been thinking about recently is, so I don't know, do you follow League of Legends at all?
Not really, not as closely as I should.
So, but do you know who Faker is?
Yeah.
Okay, so when Faker lost Worlds last year, because it was the first Worlds he had been to where he lost, he just sat in his chair and cried afterwards. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy, because Faker's known for being almost robotic, a paramount competitor, amazing mentality, never shattered. Mm-hmm. It reminded me 100% of Armada Evo when he lost to HBox.
Yeah.
And it's so... It's revealing, in a way, I think, to see these players who we really say one of their strongest things is their competitive mentality, and to see the other side of that.
When it breaks down.
Yeah. I don't know, because other people have those breakdowns too, obviously, when they lose.
Yeah.
But it was, in both of those cases, it was like, Armada, I know that was a tough loss. You sat on stage for 8 minutes, dude. That was rough. It was similar after
he lost to HBox at Summit in the fall.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen HBox do that. He's gotten...
I don't think so.
Emotional, but he leaves, you know?
Yeah, he does. They both do have, I think, very different approaches to competing. And I think that is a good clue as to what it takes to do well in competing. Mm-hmm. I think it requires you to know yourself very well in order to do it consistently. Mm-hmm. And that's part of why I found competing to be like a very fulfilling endeavor, because to succeed in it, you have to improve a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
It's a holistic thing.
Yeah.
You can't ignore certain aspects of yourself and still compete at the top level consistently. Like, you know, you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, there might be some people that appear to be exceptions, like Mewtwo King. Like, he just, you know, he's not, like, taking care of himself the weekend of a tournament. But you know what? Other people are taking care of him.
Yeah, that's true.
So...
shout outs to Sleepy K, who I know has put like Mewtwo King's babysitter on his resume before. Well, it should be interesting. It should be. We'll see that come into play at this summit that's coming up, which I think we should talk about a tiny bit before we finish.
Yeah.
Because Armada's going in his 4th seed, dude.
4th seed.
And Hungrybox is obviously 1st seed. Shoutouts to Melee Stats who compiled this. I know also Alex Lee is going to be debuting a preview on ESPN later this week about this, and I know that it talks about some of the stuff we talked about today, so have a look out for that. But Armada is 4th seed.
If you guys missed it, they released the tournament format for Smash Summit 6. It's going to be a Swiss bracket, so unlike last time, it will not be people selecting their own pools. It won't be round robin. It's going to be Swiss, which I don't think we've seen in a long time.
No, well, we saw... I don't know if we saw it like at all. Like 5 Gods was the last... That's not even Swiss. We haven't seen Swiss.
Yeah.
Because what Swiss means is that as you win and lose, you play people with equal records to you.
Yeah, your seed changes.
Pokemon tournaments do stuff. I don't think we've ever seen a Swiss since like Matt.Zeb's experimental tournaments.
We hear it talked about all the time.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm really excited to see Swiss.
Yeah, I am too.
I don't think we need to see, you know, every matchup, round robin pools. Round robin pools also, sometimes it feels like there's low stake in it. Mm-hmm. In like each match.
The thing with round robin pools is the most important matches happen in the middle a lot of the time, unless you get lucky with how it plays out.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
And they also mentioned that part of the reason they're going for Swiss is to discourage like bracket manipulation.
Yeah.
Because it is always in your best interest to win your matches, basically.
Yes, exactly. It's always in your best interest, which is not incredible. It can still not be because it's still seeding into a later bracket.
Yeah, but it's way harder to predict, right?
Yeah, it's way harder to predict.
So as we mentioned, the pools have been released, and I had to do a double take when I saw Hungrybox, Armada, and Mango all in the same pool.
Yeah, that is nuts, dude. Mango is just in the pool with all the floaties in general.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really weird. And then Zane on the other side has all the fast fallers. All the fast fallers, but that's just because Armada is 4th seed, dude.
Yeah,
that's how it is now.
You know, I honestly think this pool, the floaty pool, is like pretty good for Mango. I think he can just go, he can go ham with Falco or Fox.
I think that Amsa and Axe are 2 of the people most likely to upset him.
I think Mango will be
I think the people who are likely to upset Mango, seated below him, like not counting Mewtwo King, are Amsa, Axe, and Zane.
You know, I really think it depends on where Mango is in bracket. I think if it's towards the beginning, I see it. If he's played a few sets, I don't think any of those will beat him.
He went to Game 5 with Amsa, qualifying for top 8.
I think he'll be. I was going to say earlier, I think he'll be more ready this time, but I've seen him like almost lose to someone and then lose to them handily later. So I don't know. It's hard to say with Mango.
I still think he'll beat Axe. I think is actually the hardest one for him. I think that's actually the scariest.
Besides, like, Armada and H-Box?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of upset potential. Yeah. I think Axe is the scariest one for him, because Axe has done it many times before.
Especially hot off of his win.
Hot off Flatiron.
His second place at Flatiron, and a Game 5 at Genesis.
Yes.
Which Mango won with a reverse 3-0.
Yeah, and the Genesis before that, or the one before that, was it 3? Yeah, Genesis 3 is when Axe set Mango to losers, and then Mango had to beat Plup to get into bracket.
Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Plup is the 2 seed.
Yep.
Dude, when I was looking at this, I tweeted yesterday, I said, dude, WTF, Plup won Genesis.
I saw that.
And it's at 1K likes right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still a thing.
I mean,
like, it's still pretty dramatic and insane. But yeah, Summit's going to be really hype. We are going to do a pretty much fully devoted to Summit episode next time.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
There's going to be a lot to talk about.
Yeah. There really will be, though. Maybe we'll do a breakdown of the skits, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening, as always. I do know that we do not have the video of us up right now, but I will still put our tags in right here. You can follow us at those things down below if you're watching by video, and if you're not, that's Ipengu for me, at Ipengu, and Rishi is at SmashGod with a 0.
Correct.
And then analogcast on SoundCloud, analogcast@gmail.com, and we have a custom YouTube URL now.
Finally.
youtube.com/c/analogcast.
Yep, all the links are pinned to our Twitter, which is also analogcast.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Catch you next time.
See you next week.